Welcome to TRN Podcast, episode 166.
Hello.
Today, we're diving into the world of Percy Jackson.
Specifically, it's making that leap from the page to the stage.
Exactly. We're focusing on the musical adaptation of The Lightning Thief, the first book in Rick Riordan's big series.
Right. And we've got a few different angles on this today, don't we?
We do. We have accounts of a couple of recent productions. One's by a university group, Clark Musical Theater.
Okay.
And another by a high school drama club, Pullman High School.
So different levels of production there.
Definitely. And on top of that, there's this news about a huge open audition in London.
Ah, yes, for the UK tour of the same musical. That caused quite a stir.
It really did.
Yes.
So our kind of mission today is to figure out why this story, The Lightning Thief, keeps connecting so strongly.
Why it's being adapted multiple times for the stage, drawing crowds for auditions, getting fans excited.
Yeah, what makes the musical maybe different from the books or the films, and why might, say, a university show emphasize different things than a professional tour?
Lots to unpack there. Where should we start? The London auditions seem like a good indicator of the hype.
Agreed. So these London auditions, we're talking hundreds of actors queuing up.
Some overnight, apparently, just for chance.
Just for a shot at one of, 10 roles, including Percy Jackson himself.
Yeah, the company even warned people about massive waits, that not everyone would even get seen.
That level of turnout for an open call, that really says something about how popular Percy Jackson still is, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It feels like it has this enduring appeal that maybe some other big YA franchises haven't quite maintained in the same way.
Maybe it's that blend of mythology and modern life, that sort of hero's journey.
Could be. But why the musical specifically generates this frenzy is interesting, too. It's not just the books anymore.
Okay, so let's pivot to one of the actual productions. The review we have of the Clark Musical Theater CMT performance gives us some real insight into the show itself.
Right, and this reviewer was a fan of the books, which is a useful perspective.
It is. They mentioned the final performance felt, and I quote, looser and more chaotic.
Why was that?
Well, a couple of big things. Apparently, the lead actor playing Percy had a sore throat.
Oh, no. For a musical lead, that's tough.
Yeah, so he ended up miming his part.
Miming.
While the director actually spoke his lines from offstage or somewhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's certainly a choice. Born of necessity, I guess.
Must have been. And they also had sound system issues compounding things.
Right. So technical difficulties definitely played a part in that chaotic feel.
Seems like it. But despite all that, the reviewer actually had a lot of praise for the cast.
Oh, good. Like who?
They specifically mentioned the actors playing Percy despite the miming situation. Dionysus, Annabeth, especially her singing voice.
Okay.
And Luke, who apparently did some impressive acrobatics.
So the individual performances still shone through.
It sounds like it. And they also liked the production elements, the set design, lighting, costumes. They even said the costumes really captured the book's color scheme.
That's a nice detail for fans to pick up on. Shows attention to the source.
Yeah, and parts of the choreography were apparently very good, too.
So it's a mixed bag, then.
Yeah.
Technical issues and maybe some chaos, but strong performances and design elements.
Pretty much. It makes you wonder, though, how much do those technical glitches affect the overall experience, especially if you go in expecting, a polished show?
It's tricky. On one hand, yeah, it can pull you out of the story. It can be distracting.
Right.
But on the other hand, sometimes, especially with maybe a student production, that slight, unpolished feel can be part of the charm.
That's exactly what this reviewer seemed to find. They called the CMT production charmingly cheesy and amateurish.
Okay, cheesy and amateurish doesn't usually sound like praise.
I know, but they meant it positively. They felt it was actually more authentic to the spirit of the books than the big-budget Disney Plus series.
Interesting take. So the imperfections may be added to the appeal for them, made it feel more real, more heartfelt.
Possibly. Like, it captured the sort of underdog energy of Percy and his friends, maybe?
Copy it.
Yeah.
It begs the question of what fans really want from an adaptation.
Yeah.
Is it slick perfection, or is it capturing a certain feeling, even if it's a bit rough around the edges?
A good question. The reviewer also brought up some issues with the musical's plot and pacing, though.
The adaptation choices. Always controversial. What did they say?
They felt the musical kind of assumes you already know the story, either from the books or maybe the movies.
Okay, so it rushes through things.
Yeah, speeds through important plot points.
Well,
and it cuts out some fan-favorite moments entirely.
like what? Let me guess. The Lotus Hotel and Casino.
Bingo. That's gone. And also the whole reveal of Mount Olympus being above the Empire State Building.
Oh, really? That's quite a visual moment to lose.
Yeah.
Any other major changes?
Well, the whole concept of the mist is apparently missing, too.
No mist. For those who don't know, the mist is basically this magical veil that hides the mythological world from regular mortals. That's a pretty fundamental part of the book's world building.
It is. So cutting that, it changes things.
Wow.
Why do you think they'd make these kinds of cuts? Just time constraints in a musical.
That's often a big factor, yeah. Musicals have to keep moving. Maybe simplifying the world building, like removing the mist, makes it easier to follow for a theater audience that might be new to Percy Jackson.
Perhaps. But the reviewer pointed out another change that seemed more problematic to them. The motivation for Percy, Grover, and Annabeth leaving Camp Half-Blood.
Okay, how does it differ? In the book, it's pretty dramatic, right? There's that hellhound attack inside the camp boundaries.
Exactly. It establishes real danger and urgency. Percy is accused. Chiron advises him to go on the quest. It all flows from that threat.
So what does the musical do instead?
According to the reviewer, it's based on a nothing premise, much less compelling. And Percy finding out he's Poseidon's son is apparently handled more casually, too.
That could definitely lessen the emotional impact, couldn't it? If the stakes don't feel as high right from the start.
That was the reviewer's concern. It might feel less significant for fans who know the original motivation.
It's that classic adaptation dilemma, isn't it? How much do you change for the new medium versus staying faithful? Simplifying might make it accessible, but you risk losing depth.
True. And yet, despite these criticisms about the plot changes...
The reviewer still found it charmingly amateurish and authentic.
Yeah. It's such an interesting contradiction. They felt a stronger connection to this flawed university production than the polished TV show.
It really highlights how subjective these things are. What works for one fan doesn't work for another. Maybe that raw energy just clicked for them.
Maybe. The reviewer even tied it to their own feelings about graduating soon, facing the real world, kind of echoing the musical's final song. It clearly resonated on a personal level, flaws and all.
That personal connection can definitely override technical or plot critique sometimes.
Absolutely. Now, let's not forget the other production we mentioned, the Pullman High School Drama Club.
Right, another group taking on the Lightning Thief musical.
They were promoting it with promises of fantastic singing, exciting effects, and fun for the whole family.
Sounds like a classic high school show pitch.
Totally. They had multiple shows scheduled, affordable tickets for students and adults.
Which just reinforces the idea that this musical has broad appeal, right? It works for university theater, it works for high schools, and presumably it works for professional tours given the London buzz.
Exactly. So thinking about these different levels, professional tour, university, high school, what aspects do you think each type of production is likely to emphasize?
Well, I'd imagine a high school production is really going to lean into the enthusiasm, the teamwork, the joy of putting on a show, maybe less focus on technical perfection, more on the experience for the kids involved and the community feel.
Makes sense. Fun for the whole family, what they said.
Then the university level, like CMT, might aim a bit higher artistically, maybe experiment a bit more, dig into the themes, showcase emerging talent, like that reviewer noted with the singers and the acrobatics. Still might have resource limitations, hence the occasional charming chaos.
Right, and the professional tour.
That's where you'd expect the polish. Top-tier performers, slick staging, hitting all the technical marks consistently. It's about delivering a highly professional entertainment product for a paying audience that expects Broadway or West End quality, even on tour.
So 3 potentially quite different flavors of the same show.
Definitely. All drawing from the same source material, but likely highlighting different facets of it based on their resources, their goals, and their performers.
Okay, so bringing it all together, the massive London auditions, the mixed but positive review of the university show, the high school production, what's the final takeaway here about Percy Jackson's journey to the stage?
I think it really speaks volumes about the core story, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, the themes are just so universal. Finding your identity, the importance of friendship, facing down challenges. These things resonate whether you're 12 or 40.
And the mythological element adds that layer of epic adventure.
Exactly. And the musical format, with its songs and energy, seems to be a really effective way to capture that adventure and emotion live on stage. It creates a shared experience.
So the passion we see, from actors queuing overnight to students putting their hearts into a show, it reflects a genuine connection to that story and those themes.
I think so. The Lightning Thief musical seems to hit a sweet spot. It's accessible, it's fun, but it also has heart. And different productions can tap into that in different ways, whether it's the raw energy of a student show or the spectacle of a professional tour.
It's really clear then that this musical is striking a chord. You've got the die-hard fans who grew up with the books.
And you've got new generations of performers and audience members discovering it for the first time through the stage show.
And that energy, from London to Pullman High, it just highlights how much staying power this story has.
Absolutely. And the differing reactions, like the university review we discussed, they give you a lot to think about regarding adaptation itself.
Right. How do you translate something beloved from one medium to another? What gets kept, what gets changed, and who are you trying to please?
There's no single right answer, clearly. But the core, appeal identity, friendship, bravery that seems to shine through regardless of the budget or the polish.
Which leaves us with that final thought, maybe. What is it about Percy Jackson's world that makes it so adaptable, so beloved across books, film, TV, and stage?
Yeah, and what makes the musical a particularly unique way into that world?
Perhaps it's just that magic of live theater, seeing the myths, the monsters, the heroes brought to life right there in front of you, sharing that energy in a room together.
That communal experience of bringing myth to life.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's a big part of its enduring magic on stage.